All right, well, before we get started, I just have to say I'm very excited to announce that this is our first sponsored episode. This is sponsored by Bertha's Beef Burgers, and they want you to know, sorry, I tried to memorize this. What was that again? Oh yeah, they got the beef, they got the beef, they got the beef. Yeah, they got the beef. Okay, so big thank you to Bertha's Beef Burgers, and anyways, now we can get at it. Okay, well, today it's time for my P-pump to get cleaned up and painted. I am so happy with how the transmission turned out. I put a link in the description if you want to see that, but that was the last video I made. I really liked the way the paint set up and the way it hardened. It just has a great finish to it. This thing should be good for 600 or 700 wheel horsepower, but it looks like something off an old tractor. Definitely ready to be cleaned up. I've been not looking forward to this for a long time because of all the nooks and crannies. It's really hard to clean stuff like this, but I got some aircraft stripper. This is from Proform. It doesn't say to not use it on aluminum. I'm going to do a little bit more research, but I think I'll use this and just be careful with it. I love that this has a fighter jet on the front, and then immediately on the back says do not use on aircraft, which is just perfect. But anyways, I'm going to jump into this. I'll be careful. I'm going to pull off the fuel shutdown solenoid and sort of dismantle as much as I can, but I'm really looking forward to seeing this thing cleaned up like the transmission and transfer case. Okay, so anybody who isn't familiar with my truck or this pump, this is out of a 1996 Dodge Ram 3500. It has an automatic transmission, which I'm pretty sure means that this is a 160 horsepower P-pump. Okay, so as I mentioned, this thing has had a ton of work done to it. If you want to see that, I actually made a video talking about my P-pump mods. I'll put a link in the description for that. But anyways, once this thing's cleaned up, it should be good to go for a while, I hope. I had it at a diesel injection shop recently, and they gave it a clean bill of health and said that it's pumping out 460 cc's. So anyways, time to get this thing cleaned up. Okay, well, anybody who watched the recent transmission painting video will know that I was very happy with this little setup. This is just a nylon bristle brush that clicks into this 1/4 inch impact. Worked great for all the little nooks and crannies. I've never used something like this before, and made such a big difference. And once again, I'll be using this stuff here. This is xylene. I've never even heard of this stuff before, but worked great. The fumes from it are terrible, so I will definitely be wearing a mask. But anyways, I'm going to start getting this thing cleaned up, and then we can go from there. Before I get too ahead of myself, I'm going to pull this O-ring off here. I think I might just try and clean this up as a complete unit. Just see how that goes first. And if I feel like I can get in all the nooks and crannies with brake cleaner and compressed air and, you know, this xylene stuff and aircraft stripper and whatever else, I think it would probably be a little simpler overall to just keep this as a contained unit. But we'll see. It might prove that that's not the case, and maybe I will have to strip it apart. But I think for now, I'm just going to try and just leave this as a complete thing. The first thing I'm going to do is hit this with some compressed air. There's a lot of little nooks and crannies. I don't want to put anything on there and turn loose dust into sludge that I got to fight with later. So first thing is just get rid of all the easy stuff. It's amazing. Probably 90% of the paint is off it already. Everything still looks filthy, of course, but yeah, just absolutely shocked. So anyways, I think I'm going to go ahead now and pull off a couple items. I'm going to remove this return line so I can get in back behind there. And then on this side, I'll pull off the shutdown solenoid and the linkage. The one thing about this is this was pulled off of a running truck, and if I put it back on, you know, most likely this is going to work. So I really have to be careful with stuff like this. I'm very new to this. There's a lot of linkage and stuff here, and if I'm going to take it apart, I need to know for sure that I can get it back together. Considering I've only been working on this for an hour or so, I'm pretty shocked at how well it's coming along. Well, would you look at this? Man, did that thing ever turn out well. Okay, well, as you can see, this thing is actually cleaned up way better than I ever would have expected without using the aircraft stripper, paint stripper stuff. That xylene, for whatever reason on this paint, just whipped it to shreds super easily. You just put it on there and give it a light go with a wire wheel on a die grinder or on a drill or whatever, and amazing how well it cleaned up. In terms of fixturing, I have it just sitting on this engine plate. I have this thing clamped to the bench, and as you can see there, I don't have it tightened right down, but I've got one on each side so it can't tip off. And then the reason I have it hanging off the bench is because, not sure if you can see, but there's a shaft that hangs down there. I have this taped off because that's where the engine number is on here, and when you talk to Cummins, it's nice to have that available. This case here, I'm going to paint this when I paint the engine, and I'm leaving it greasy so the paint won't really stick, so I'm not going to get too bent out of shape about that. I took the return line here off and cleaned that up, and actually a big warning for those of you who might be trying this, I pulled all this linkage and stuff off and cleaned everything up. And on this one here, this is right below the fuel shutdown solenoid, there's a little, one of those keyway things. It's like a little half circle that keeps this frame indexed properly on the shaft. Anyways, if you ever pull these off, that one there, which is by the fuel shutdown solenoid, and this one up here, which is near where your idle adjust is, be really, really careful. Okay, let's clean this thing up. Okay, well, there's a full can of brake clean on there and a blaster off with compressed air, and continue on. All right, well, it is time to paint. All right, well, here we go. 3 coats of primer, let it dry for a bit. I actually found this new product called Instapaint, where you basically just look at the part and you hold the paint in your hand, and then you just go 1, 2, 3. Wow, I can't believe that actually worked. Holy smokes. Totally thought that was just some infomercial BS, but Instapaint, really, it's a thing.